Hey everybody, it's Rachel with Rachel Q Stitches and welcome to my channel. Today is Thursday, July 13th, 2023, and this is a special quilt video. As many of you know, I have set aside a challenge for myself to finish 60 quilt tops by the time I turn 60, which is in 6 years. So that's 10 a year, doable, very doable, unless they all treat me like this last quilt top did and give me trouble. But anyway, this quilt did give me it's a quilt top. I'm gonna say quilt, but it's just the top, so bear with me while I just use the word quilt instead of quilt top. But anyway, it gave me some trouble, but you know, it taught me some lessons, and that is slow down, pay attention, and don't rush. So anyway, this first quilt that I did is called, and I'm looking for it. It is called the Fence Rail Star. It is a tutorial here on YouTube by Jenny at Missouri Star Quilt Company, and it uses a jelly roll. So I did not use a jelly roll. When Jenny did the tutorial, she said 1 jelly roll will give you 8 blocks, which, if you know anything about quilting, 8 blocks is not enough to make a decent shaped quilt. It would be very narrow. So she made 2 baby quilts out of 1 jelly roll. Well, I thought, well, I'm using some fat quarters. I had 2 small bundles from my mom's stash, and they're Christmas fabrics, and I thought, well, I could do this. I could do it. I could do this. Well, so I started cutting my fat quarters into 2.5-inch strips, sewing them together. Before I go on, she calls it a fence rail. I'm going to ask you, I've always called it a rail fence. What do you call it? Do you call it a fence rail? Do you call it a rail fence? Is there a difference? Anyway, that's my question of the day. Answer me down in the comments if you have an opinion. Okay, so I started cutting my fat quarters into 2.5-inch strips, sewing them into sections of 3, and then trimming them down like you should. And I had them all counted out, and I know I had enough to do 9 blocks, and I thought that'll be perfect. 3 by 3, it'll be a good size lap quilt, especially if later on I decide to add a border. For now, it's finished, but we'll get to that later. So I sewed them all together, and I went to lay them out, and I had 8 blocks, and I thought, oh no, what am I gonna do? I looked all over my room to see maybe if it fell, did it blow away or something? It did not. There were 8 blocks, not 9. 8 like Jenny got. I got them out of fat quarters. She got hers out of a jelly roll. So I thought, oh no. So then I had been saving the pieces that, you know, didn't trim up into a square after sewing the 3 together, which I think it ends up being 6.5 inches, you know, and then I would trim them down into these segments right here, little 2.5 by 3.5, 6.5-inch strips. And I thought, well, I'm going to use these scraps, and I'm going to make what Karen Brown, I think it is, on Just Get It Done Quilts, calls an after quilt. Or I pieced the back or something. I couldn't decide what I was going to do with it. So, but I kept them because, you know, if you know me and you've been around, you know that I don't throw much fabric away. So anyway, Jenny also suggested that when you do the star points, and I'm going to show you, I might put her quilt right here somewhere around. When you do your star points, she said, sew on your fold line and then sew 1/2 inch away, and you get these little bonus half square triangles. So I have a bunch of these right here. Aren't they great? So anyway, so I had this bag of pieces that I would just, when I would trim down, I'd put them in there. And then I said, you know what? I bet I have enough of these to just stitch a bunch together and make a different center block of my quilt. So that's what I did. I stitched a bunch together, and I have 3 fence rail stars, fence rail star, big checkerboard, fence rail star, and then 3 fence rail stars. And so anyway, so that's what I did, and it came out great. I filmed a video and I was editing it, and one of my blocks was on wrong. One of my point sections was on backwards, and I was like, normally I fudge a lot when it comes to quilting and cross stitch. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I fudge. I couldn't fudge this just looked, I showed it to my husband, and he's like, and normally he's like, no, it looks good, don't worry about it, and so I don't, you know, but this, he just kind of went, ugh. So I took it apart, put it back together, looked at it, and it was wrong again. Slow down, Rachel, slow down. So I took a couple of days off, and I did some other little things, which I'm going to show y'all in another video. I was playing around with my cotton cut scrap bags and just kind of messing with those and going through some of my mom's fabrics. And then finally I sat down, I closed the door to my room, and I fixed it. So it is fixed. It is a quilt top. It is ready to go however I want to quilt it. I do think I want to do flannel on the back, and because it is a Christmas quilt. So anyway, I am going to insert the photo of it here. Okay, so there's the quilt. My husband's holding it up for me. Behind it, you'll see a quilt that I made, and one day I'll talk about that quilt a little bit. But I made that when my boys were babies. So anyway, so that's the quilt. I think that middle section came out amazing. And I'm going to show it to you a little bit. Y'all, I just had this quilt top. Oh, here it is. A little bit right now. So this is it in person. You can see my lines are all doing good. There's no, that was another thing, is like I would have up and down and anyway. So here's my center block right here. I would stand up, but I hurt my back the other day. So here's my center block. I think it came out really, really cute. I like the added, I don't know, it just kind of, it broke up the star sections of it. I know it would have looked great. It would have looked great with 9 fence rail stars, but I think this looks just as good. And I used up those pieces. So there it is. I don't bother too much about stuff like this touching. Oh, that really touches. But that kind of stuff doesn't bother me at all. It's a scrappy quilt. It's gonna happen. So anyway, I am thrilled. I got my first one done. I'm going to document it in my books and move on to the next quilt. So the next quilt that I'm going to do, I went and spun my little wheel. I did me a Tiny Decisions wheel, and it came up with, oh, look at my grandbaby, y'all. Isn't she adorable? Anyhow, that's not what y'all want to see. Well, I mean, you might want to, but anyhow, a panel quilt. So you'll know that I've bought some panels recently. I have some from my mom. So if you follow me on YouTube, you will remember that I posted a question about some panels that I had. And I'm going to pull these up here. So these panels are, I have 2 pieces of them. They are very, very 1990s. There's right here. And they're scenes with quilts, black and white. I absolutely love them. And here it is right here. So there's 6 designs. So I have 2 of these pieces right here. Each piece has 2 sets of the 6 designs. So I have 4. So my question was on Instagram was, should I use black and white or should I go with some traditional calico? And overwhelmingly people said calico. And so I thought, well, I have 2. I'll do one in calico and then I'll do one in black and white with maybe a pop of color every now and then. Well, now I have 4. No idea what I'm gonna do. I do think I'm gonna use all 4, but this is gonna be an experiment in different ways Rachel can use panels. So anyway, so I have, I pulled out all that I had of these these sets of, this is how my Christmas fabric came. This is how fat quarters used to come. It would come like this, not folded up nicely in a little stack with a ribbon. So I have these right here. So pretty. And these are sets of greens. I have a set of yellow somewhere, but I could not find them. So they're sets of greens, mostly. And then I have these right here, which are sets of blues. Kind of the same, they have the same designs, but in blue. And I actually think the blue has more fabric. I'm not sure. So what am I gonna do? I don't know yet. I have an idea, and I'm trying to figure out how to make it work with just these and not adding any more fabric. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these and 2 of these. I'm gonna go through Mama's stuff again and see if I can find maybe something else that I can use. I need some neutrals, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. If I'm gonna try to find some from Mom, or if I'm just gonna go to the store and buy a couple of yards of neutrals, because I don't have a lot of neutrals. I'll have maybe I don't have a bucket. I have a bucket. You see these buckets right here. Just one of these of neutrals. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. And they're all very modern neutrals, so I don't want to use them. I want to use something very delicate and dainty. So I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm letting you know that I will be working on these panels. I'm excited about them. It's Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. She has a Halloween quilt that has embroidery. It's all in black. And I've always admired that quilt when she would put it out. I don't like Halloween. And I always liked that look of the black embroidered blocks with the fabric all around it. And so when I saw this, I was so excited because I thought, I don't have to embroider anything. I can use this. So anyway, this is it. This is going to be my next quilt. Hopefully I can get this done by the end of August. And get that shown to you guys. It shouldn't take long at all. With the idea that I have in my brain, it should not take long at all. So I'm gonna mess around with this, get this done, and hopefully, like I said, at the end of August, I can show this to you guys. So anyway, that's my 60 by 60 plans for my quilting. I am working on something special. I'm going to be getting the new snippets bag from Cotton Cuts, and so I'm going to do an unboxing of that. And next week I should be getting in a new scrap bag. I had a credit with Fat Quarter Shop, so I bought me a new scrap bag, and I bought a new ruler. I needed a ruler. My rulers are very old, and some of them were my mom's, and so they're chipped, and they're that old rule. If you've been quilting for any length of time, you know what I mean. That material that the old rulers were made out, they chip easily. And I'm trying to get me some creative grids. I like their rulers. They have really good clear markings on them, really good markings. So I'm gradually replacing my rulers. So I ordered me a new ruler, and I ordered me another scrap bag so I could use my credit. So that's going to be coming in, so I'll show you guys that when it comes in. I did sign up for the Cotton Cuts mystery quilt, puzzle quilt, so I'll be showing you that. That's kind of a little bonus quilt that's going to be going on. And I've just been doing some organizing of my scraps and my fabric and trying to make it a little bit easier. I'm starting a leader and ender project, which I will talk about my next quilt video. Hopefully I can get one out, if not every week, every other week, just kind of letting you know what I do. Kind of my floss tube, my show and tell. I will have a floss tube next week. I wanted to film one this Tuesday, but we had some stuff coming up that came up, and so I'm going to film one Tuesday. A new floss tube. So like I said, my quilt videos, I'm going to try to come out once a week, once every other week, just kind of a show and tell. If I've been working on something, just show you guys. But my 60 by 60s will be a surprise until they're done, so you won't get updates on those, but you'll get updates on everything else that I get. So that's all I have. Thank you for watching my 60 by 60, my first 60 by 60 quilt top. I will post a video, not a video, but another picture at the end, a little bit longer, so you can get a good look at the top, and just enjoy it. So that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching me. I will see you guys next week, Lord willing. Happy stitching, everybody. Bye-bye.